welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiral, Dadia. We have Sharma, MD at JSPL, joining in. Mr. Sharma, a very warm welcome to the show. Firstly, my question coming to you is, in this precedented times of COVID-19, uh, how are you actually seeing the impact with regards to business as well as economy?
Yes, thank you and good afternoon to everyone. Of course, this is a very challenging time. The COVID-19, this has thrown a lot many challenges to the country and to the economy, especially to the domestic industry. We have been struggling to get the business streamline in terms of supplying material to domestic markets. But unfortunately, the domestic markets are closed. Hopefully, after 3rd of May, partially the country will open. This is what we are hoping. But we do not know what exactly is in the mind of government and what they will do. Hopefully, they will do the best for the nation. The situation was very precarious in the beginning. And most of our domestic customers, they always told us that, please hold these supplies. We cannot take the material because there are no laborers, there is no unloading people, the trucks are not moving. All of the railway sidings were inoperative. So then we thought that how to survive. Then Steel Ministry came to our rescue, and Ministry of Steel declared steel as essential products.
Correct.
So on 2nd, the lockdown started. On 24th, Secretary Steel took out a notice in the evening that the steel business, the steel companies will be treated as essential services. So that has helped us. So we charted out a policy and strategy how to meet out our obligations. So what we did, we kept the local orders aside and we started booking export orders.
Okay.
And we had some export orders on the table when we were on 24th of March. So initially we started manufacturing those orders, and side by side we kept on hunting more orders. So we were lucky that we got good size of orders in last 1.5 month time. So we have now orders up to, I think, 500,000 tons. And this month we are going to do a ever highest export dispatch. We will be crossing around 400,000 tons in the month of April.
Okay.
So this is our highest sale to exports. So domestic sale is hardly anything. Say I would say 50,000 ton only, whereas export sales is about 450,000 tons. So the Ministry of Steel, they have supported us quite a lot. The second support what we got from the Indian Railway, they didn't stop their operations and they kept on supplying us the railway rakes for iron ore from Odisha to our both the plants to Badbil, from Badbil to Raigad as well as Badbil to Angul. And they were also in a position to deploy more and more rakes to transport our goods to the ports. So now we are running full. I would say steel making per se, liquid steel, we are 100% capacity utilization. But downstream, yes, we are compromising because we are selling a lot of semi-finished steel like bloom, billets, and some of the plates we are selling to Europe and also to Middle East. So now things are normal. We are using 4 ports today. So 2 ports in Paradeep, 1 in Gopalpur and 1 in Vizag. And on and off, we also use Gangavaram port in Visakhapatnam. So this is how we are managing, and so far so good.
Right. So, as you mentioned that, yes, at least there is some bit of relief that you have the export side of business, which is functioning. But are you facing any constraints on that front, especially if you look at supply chain?
Supply chain per se, there are no constraint because government has already allowed the associate industry or the helping industry to the steel industry to function. So all of them, and that circular itself clarifies that they can start their functions. So they've started. There was a disruption about a week time, but after that it started.
Okay. And what's the kind of impact you're seeing, especially if you have to look at the domestic steel prices, because almost, as you mentioned, the business has gone down.
You see, the business has gone down in terms of the domestic sales.
Correct.
But the We are, in terms of total tonnage, we are compensating it by exporting. But the domestic buyers are still not open. Loha mandis or the steel markets are closed. Then there is a very big sector that is called pipe and tube sector. So the pipe and tube sector is closed. They consume about 35 to 40% of the total steel in the country. And most of the pipeline projects, which are the infrastructure projects, they are also down. I think in the first week of May, government will definitely allow them to function. And this is what Mr. Nitin Gadkari, he told us in a meeting through FICCI that he has more than 450 projects on paper. All these 450 projects will be launched very soon. So if all these projects are launched very soon, then I think May, second half of May should be better.
Okay, so second half of May expected to be better, but on a monthly volume target basis, what is your expectation that you're expected to reach in the near term?
See, as far as the total tonnage is concerned, liquid steel tonnage or liquid metal, so we have crossed the monthly target. So, but you know, the downstream is not there.
Correct.
Like we are selling a lot of semi-finished steel or pig iron or blooms and billets. And the only export commodity, which is a finished good steel, that is rail bloom, what we are exporting to France now, and for the manufacturing of rails, and also the plates. So plate has come as a big business because most of the European mills are closed. And you know, the Italian steel mills, Spanish steel mills, German steel mills, all were down. So they are still down. So that opportunity India has got, and we have availed that opportunity because our plant was running. And most of the other peer group, the plants were closed. So they might not have availed that opportunity. But we in General Steel and Power, we have availed that opportunity.
Right. So overall,
The other big business now.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, yes, please. So if you see the MENA countries, Middle East and North African countries, so the demand has pumped up quite a bit. Okay. So our now the savior is MENA as well as Europe, and partially I would say for semi-finished, it is Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, and also China. And this is how we are managing. So overall steel making per month is, we are not compromised. So we have produced the same steel, but different products are not produced in full what it used to be. But the total tonnage for this year, this month, we are touching today. Today is the last day of this month. So we'll be touching about 570,000 tons of production, which is our normal monthly production.
Right. So what is the kind of EBITDA per ton, given that the semi-finished is getting sold and not the finished? So where does that, equation come to?
You see, EBITDA is a very broad calculation, because when we take out EBITDA, if you see that we are taking out EBITDA only for the like steel melting, up to those kind of assets, then it goes pretty high. That goes about 7,000, 8,000 rupees. But if we see the overall from a campus to campus, then it will be less, maybe around 5,000 to 6,000. But it is a method of calculation. So the calculation method is, if it is we are taking steel making a different zone and rolling is a different zone, then it is quite good. It is more than 8,000.
Right. Overall, if we look at the FY20 numbers as well, we did see the highest annual crude steel production and sales numbers, a growth of 12% in terms of output. Sales registered a rise of 10%. But now, if you have to look at FY21 as a year, with the impact of COVID-19 into consideration as well, do you think we will still be able to maintain this kind of a run rate? Or you think we will go down, and how much is the kind of degrowth you as a company are prepared to look at?
Yes, I will tell you. A very relevant question you have asked. You see, nobody knows what will happen tomorrow.
Correct.
This pandemic is something very, very unusual, and country will have to find ways to live with it. Because unless the vaccine is developed, I think this fear factor will not come out. So the fear is also very genuine because there are so many deaths we are seeing. But if you compare India versus Italy, or India versus Spain, or India versus UK, or India versus United States, Then luckily, fortunately, God is kind. So we are still better, and we will be in a position to combat better in a times to come. But if we feel that by mid of May, this situation will become normal, then there won't be any reduction downside in the current financial year. Our basic plan is to produce at least minimum 15 to 20% higher production than the last year.
Okay.
So as you see that YOY, last year we did 12% growth. So this year we have our internal budget is that we should give 18% growth we should do. And last year we did 8.13 million ton including Oman. So this year we'll be touching more than 10 million ton. So the plan are very much in place. But we are part of the world and we are part of the country. We are not the superhuman being. If something happens, the whole country is under this pandemic or epidemic, then there'll be a problem, but otherwise there's no problem. Secondly, if you compare India versus China, the Chinese, they were also in trouble in December, January, February, and also part of March. But they have come up in March, and they came up with a big reaction. And that big reaction is that the country is spending about $1.7 trillion in the infrastructure projects. The steel is driven by infrastructure projects.
Correct.
And infrastructure projects are to be supported by government. So the last time when we met through CII, Mr. Piyush Goyal, the Honorable Minister, and also Mr. Steel Minister, Mr. Pradhan, and also Mr. Nitin Gadkari. So we requested them, please declare the projects. You see, we can ask you that you give billions of dollars to us or billion of rupees to us or crores of rupees to us. That is not going to help. That is help, but that help is a momentary help. But ultimately, we have to be stronger deep in. So unless we become stronger from deep from inside, it will be very difficult to survive. I mean, the government can lend money, government can the taxes in terms of moratorium, but that is not going to help the country. With 130 crore people, we have to live, we have to run, and we have to struggle. Then only we can do it. It is not only just eating food and sleeping in the home. That is not the aim of the country. Okay, everybody, I mean, government is sufficient, capable enough, and they have sufficient funds that they can feed the Indian population maybe for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. But that is not what is required. The required is wherever there are green zones, wherever there are orange zones, they should be opened for the business, and MSMEs should be started immediately, because ultimately my customer are the MSMEs. So the Loha Mandis and the steel market should be opened, and we should not allow too many trucks entering in a particular city. The trucks should be entered with an even and odd number system, so that less number of population of trucks in the city is available at any given point of time. The buses, the city buses, should be reduced in terms of people per bus. I mean, that occupancy should be reduced, and the number of buses should be increased, so that people, the state government, they start buying more buses, and more trucks are being are purchased from the commercial vehicle suppliers. So there'll be overall increase in the economy. So similarly, the water pipelines, drinking water pipeline, gas pipelines, then the Sagarmala project of the very ambitious project of government, Sagarmala project. All these projects should be declared on the top priority, and the Power Grid Corporation of India, they should put all transmission lines as early as possible, so that more and more steel is consumed and more people are engaged. Right. So the April month normally is also harvesting month.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we can assume that people have gone to their homes and they have done the harvesting, etc. Now they are free, and I think if government feels it is comfortable, government must allow them to come back to the work.
Right. And overall, what's the sense that you have as a company? Does the plan with regards to the debt reduction strategy in FY21 remain the same? Because what we want to understand is as to what are we closing the March quarter with in terms of the total debt, and what's the kind of repayment schedule that we could see for the next 3 months, and what's the status of the restructuring of the international debt?
Yes, actually, there are three questions you asked, so I'll
Correct.
try one. So the question number one, what are our debt reduction plans? So first of all, as of now, there is no change in the plan. Our aim is to generate good EBITDA, and we should in a position to reduce debt at least by 5,000 crore in the current month. 5,000 crore last year also we reduced. So this year also we would like to reduce 5,000 crore. So total put together overseas debts as well as the domestic debts together today we are at a 34,000 crore. Our sales turnover we are expecting to 50,000 crores, and we will be ending up, if everything goes well and this COVID does not create a havoc beyond May, then I think we will be, by the end of the year, we'll be at 28, 29,000 crores. So with 28, 29,000 crores, this is including overseas as well as domestic, and having a sales turnover of more than 50,000 crores, so we'll be in a very good condition. So our aim is that in next 3 years time, we should come down to about 15,000 crore. And in next 3 years, I think we should be in a position to have around 60 to 65,000 crores of turnover. So we'll be in a very better situation in times to come. Rest all depends upon the situation, you know.
Correct.
But sure, this COVID-19 will not affect very adversely, because the Prime Minister has taken these steps in the very early stage. And now the time has come to take another step to how to revive the economy.
Absolutely. Revival of economy is going to be a must. And my last question is with regards to, on a monthly basis, how much iron ore are we using from the Sarda mine? And secondly, any changes with regards to the Botswana mine sale on the back of COVID-19?
You see, first of all, Sharda mines, we have a long-term contract with them to buy. But apart from the contract, we had our own material about 15 million ton. So that was lying in the premises of that company. And this is what we have been struggling for the last 5 years, but Honorable Supreme Court finally they allowed us to take out that material. So at the moment we are consuming our own material. So we are not spending money on buying iron ore from anybody else. So that is a great saving, because 15 million ton is a huge quantity, and this will last for more than 1 year. And this is a great boost. So we will save, I would say, around 4,000 crore rupees only on account of our earlier paid iron ore. So this iron ore is already duty paid, royalty paid. Now what we are spending on it, the expenses are only how to transport from the neighbor to our site. So by trucks, by conveyor, by whatever means we are getting. So we are using it every month on month basis. And presently our bill to buy the iron ore is negligible.
Right. All right. Mr. Sharma, thank you for joining in as well. And that was a great insight and a great conversation. In fact, we will come back to you as well in a couple of months to understand further details as to what has been the impact with the kind of steps that the government has been taken as well, whether the consumption with regards to steel has increased on the domestic basis, because that's something which will be needed as well, and revival is going to be the key from here on. But stay safe, stay home, stay safe. That's going to be our motto at Nirmal Bang as well, and we will come back to you. Thank you very much for joining in.
Thank you. All the best.